YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Witches captured on CCTV or on somebody's camera in their yard. Not something that they expected to have happen, of course, nor is it something that the mainstream media wants to cover because, of course, they'll just spin this off as some type of a prank. And I'll get into it in a second. I just want everybody on this channel to know that I do have 2 new channels that I'm uploading on. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now. Both of those channels, I'm uploading daily content on one of them. The other one is another backup channel. Please take the time now to just pause the video. Make sure you're subbed to both. Again, this channel here that I'm uploading on, my old main channel, is just a template for the most part where I'm trying to get people to my new work. Again, you have been missing out if you haven't subscribed. There's a lot of new content, a lot of important stuff if you want to keep up to date with what's actually happening in the world, the coming civil unrest, the civil division, the civil states that they have planned with the national divorce, all of the stuff with technology and Elon Musk, of course, them telling us that we need to rewrite the Bible and have artificial intelligence do it. All of this insane stuff that's going on that you never hear in the mainstream media, but I'll let you know all about it and I'll help you figure out what exactly is going on because it is a psychological war. So those 2 channels are linked below. Please take the time now to pause and subscribe to those if you haven't. Again, also, a reminder, check out the website at callforunuprising.com. It's 10 cents a day. It's $2.99 a month. It is unlimited content. You get exclusive videos over there, but the forum itself is worth it. There is so much stuff going on in the forum, so much stuff being shared, other channels, other articles, things that are actually going on. Everybody's helping one another learn, see the things that are going on in the world. And look, it's ad-free over there. I mean, it's hard to run a free website and keep it maintained, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, this keeps the trolls out. That's the most important thing. Trolls aren't going to pay $3, but if it was a free website, the trolls would be over there nonstop, probably posting pictures of their junk. So for $2.99, it keeps the trolls out. It keeps people who are like-minded, who want to think, who want to point these things out and help one another and network and learn about what's really going on. It's a great way to stay connected with each other and talk to like-minded people. So it is well worth it. Check it out if you haven't. Again, it's a call for an uprising. I'm not sure if any of you heard this story, but I have to cover it because it's actually a true story of a woman who posted footage from her CCTV camera or CCTV footage, which is pretty much like having your own camera, your own ring at your home or in your yard. And well, what does it depict on the camera? Apparently 2 women who are topless eating a dead deer carcass. Now, what would the mainstream media say about this? Well, they probably say it's just normal behavior. They probably say, well, it's just Lady Gaga and Megan Fox having a normal hangout in their backyard in the middle of the woods at 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, no. They wouldn't say that this could potentially be 2 witches who happen to be out there holding a ritual, eating a dead, uncooked carcass. Now, we're not talking about venison here. We're not talking about cooked meat. You actually could see in one of the pictures, one of the witches is actually eating a hoof. I mean, this is right out of the Blair Witch Project. So the story goes that a nature lover and a nurse in Canada claimed to have captured bizarre footage on her security camera. Well, why would this person make it up? I mean, is this a trailer for a movie? Is this Blair Witch 3? I mean, clearly this is real footage because we know that these things occur all the time. It just happens to be that somebody caught it on camera and the witches didn't realize it. So they kind of got caught up in their own game with the way technology is working, right? Because if we actually had cameras following these elites around, we would see this stuff all the time. If we had cameras, in their dungeons, their underground tunnels, right, in their palatial palaces, and we actually had the footage live, or even in the UN meetings and the Bilderberg meetings, their secret meetings, or the Bohemian Grove, for example, too. The way the camera's there, well, we'd see all sorts of similar activity, of course, but they don't want you to see that kind of stuff, so the mainstream media won't cover anything like this. They just kind of like laugh it off, but I don't, because I cover this stuff to try to show people that witches are real, the devil is real, and they're constantly showing us this day in and day out. So, the camera footage supposedly shows 2 witches holding a carcass eating ritual. The scary video was captured in the camera that the woman had installed near her home, according to a report published by Fox. I don't know what the heck was up with that, said 36-year-old Corinna Stanhope of Powell River, British Columbia, while speaking to Kennedy News. It really freaked us out. It's not something you see every day. Well, it's not something you see every day on TV or possibly, I guess, in your own yard, but it's probably happening out in your own woods because this kind of stuff is definitely happening in your own town. Now, a lot of these types of things will occur in places that you don't have access to. You know, underneath churches and Freemasonic temples, Eastern Star temples, places like that, or just in the woods, you know, out in the middle of the night somewhere where, of course, these people can get away with this stuff. They have all sorts of places that they do these rituals all the time. And again, these are things that are going to become normalized as we move forward with clearly what we're seeing in today's society. This type of stuff will not be, you know, outcasted. This kind of stuff will not be, you know, shunned. This type of stuff will be accepted because we're supposed to accept this kind of stuff, right? You know, 2 women topless in the woods, wearing, you know, little shard or whatever you want to call them over their crotches, you know, almost like a Masonic bib in a sense. And, you know, because it's normal to just suddenly eat a dead deer. I mean, we all see a deer on the side of the road and we think like, oh, you know, I'm hungry. There's McDonald's. There's a deer carcass. Maybe I'll just pull over and just start eating the raw deer carcass because, you know, it's perfectly healthy. You're not going to get some type of bacterial infection or anything like that, right? You know, no, this is clearly a ritual. So she said she didn't know what was up with that. It freaked us out, she said. It's not something you see every day. Stanhope said that she came across a deer carcass, which was present in the garden inside her property. She added that she set up the camera to check if any animal would take interest in the dead deer, which is, I guess, a normal type of thing, right? Maybe she wanted to see, you know, what caused the deer to die or, you know, what animal might eat it, maybe attract Sasquatch, I don't know. But instead, she attracted 2 witches, right? Probably living across the street and during the day, probably teachers at the local middle school. She said, me and my grandpa put up a trail camera to see if we could see animals, and we got a bobcat on camera, which was pretty cool. She said, further stating that the video footage of the topless women feeding on the dead carcass left her 76-year-old grandfather, Bob, horrified. Well, Bob, I guess don't tune into this channel, Bob, because you'll be real horrified real fast. I came the next day, and Grandpa said he got naked people on the camera, and I said, no, you didn't, BS. So he showed me. Stanhope further emphasized that the carcass eaters had apparently emerged about 10 minutes after sunset and looked disheveled and appeared to be wearing wigs. So obviously these are women, but they might not identify as women, so I can't say that because I don't want to offend anybody out there, especially witches of all people, you know, because they've been persecuted so much over the centuries, of course. Excuse me. Very interesting, though, that they came 10 minutes after sunset. I guess it was an early ritual. Stanhope goes on to say, you can't really tell from the photos, but the hoof was brought right up to her mouth. I don't know if she was kissing it, smelling, or eating it. Well, I'll tell you, Stanhope, from covering these witches all the time, probably all 3. Probably was smelling it, probably was kissing it, maybe even licking it, and then, of course, eating it, because that's what these people do. So she didn't know if they were kissing it, smelling it, or eating it, but to touch a decaying carcass like that makes me feel sick. The amount of bacteria that must have been on there. Well, looks like Stanhope is actually a normal thinking human being. Incredible, right? Because if this happened in America, let's say in like, California, you know, a live state, they would say like, oh, that looks perfectly normal. They'd say, it doesn't make me sick. It makes me, you know, happy that people are, you know, eating the carcass instead of wasting the carcass and that they're living their lives and enjoying themselves. But this woman was, you know, horrified, as most people should be. She said maybe they were paying their respects, but they were naked, the nature lover further stated. Stanhope admitted that she was creeped out because the incident happened just a 2-minute walk from her house. She said that she was fearing for the safety of her horses. I was concerned about them messing with my horses at night. The horses always get really spooked and unnerved around that area. I thought they imagined stuff at first, so I didn't think anything of it. Maybe I believe them now. Well, I would be worried about your horses too around witches. I mean, We've all seen the photographs of Angelina Jolie around the witches, right? Yeah, this was publicized in a major magazine. There's nothing spooky about this. There's nothing insinuated by these photos, right? And of course, Jolie is another celebrity who admits to being a witch. Well, she might not admit it, but let's be realistic, right? She's just a big fan of horses, of course, we're supposed to believe. Yeah, I wouldn't want witches near my property, my horses, especially anybody's children, anybody's pets, anything. I wouldn't really want them, anywhere near my country, to be honest. The nurse stated that she was hoping that the incident would just be a prank or that those women would be on some type of drugs, which they probably were on some type of drugs. I mean, probably snorting incense or something. So a lot of people mentioned skinwalkers and wendigos. There's rumors around town about a cult that collects animal bones. I don't know if it's real or not. I thought I was just like, there might be a cult around town. Like, oh yeah, a cult around town. We don't want to contact the authorities. They're not any type of threat to democracy. They're not any type of extremist and a cult. No, that's normal. White conservative Christians, yeah, that's a threat. I mean, that's, we got to contact the FBI over that. So she says, again, the rumors around town about a cult that collects animal bones, I don't know if it's real. The horses always get spooked and unnerved in the area. After she shared the photos on social media, some claimed it was a prank. Others speculated it was a satanic or paranormal element. I mean, a prank? Who would do that? That's like, a neighbor has the ring. What are you going to do? Walk up to the door and moon the ring? Right? And then you're going to just hope that they look at the footage from the device at some point. And then what? You don't prank somebody you don't even know, and do something like that. And the fact they're even touching the dead carcass. But of course, everything in today's society gets played off as a prank. Witches and Satanists are running amok. They're roaming society. I mean, most of the time, if you really want to find them, you don't have to look for them in the woods, topless, near carcasses, in ritual circles. They're actually walking around our society in suits and ties, and you probably could find them at the state capitol or Washington, D.C., the majority of them, or you could just go to a major corporation, because whoever the head of it is certainly one of them. As you can see, they all kind of have the same politics and are pushing the same agenda. So she said a lot of people speculated it was a prank. Others speculated it was a satanic element. That's basically a walking demon from hell, wrote a user. If you hear screaming, stay inside and get a you-know-what and leave it alone. You can, So, I mean, you could see from some of the people's reactions, it's like, nobody takes it seriously, but it's such an element of our culture now. And has been over the last, ever since the advent of television, but I mean, more so than ever, right? I keep saying it, superhero powers, celebrities admitting to being witches, crystals, sages, all this, altars in the home, all this type of spellcasting crap, every single movie being about paranormal magic and all this. And we're supposed to, right, it's not real. It's not real. Well, it's real to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, but the majority of our society doesn't. So no big deal, folks. Just CCTV footage capturing two individuals who clearly are witches out in somebody's yard in the woods, just, making out with a dead deer, I guess, or, eating its carcass, but there's no ritual here. I mean, hints of cannibalism, next to be seen on CCTV. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. God bless you as always and your families.